What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. What we have here is a lifted big red with a failure to fabricate. Whoever built this kit turned around and they cut the dude's shock mounts down to like a ½ inch wide. They cut the welds off the shocks so the shock snapped on the guy. So what we got here is this is an aluminum adapter block to go from the big red shock mount to a new modern aftermarket shock. That's how much wider they are. Yes, that's what happened. That little bitty tab, that's what the shock mount was cut down to, and it didn't last. So this is going to be a lot stronger. It's 6061 billet aluminum up on top. That steel plate is for the lower mount because dude took sheet metal, rolled it around, and made this mount. If you look at it, you can see how cut down the shock is. This is the same shock as the one I'm putting back in it. You see how cut down that is, how thin that metal is. It looks horrible. It's been strong enough to hold up. This dude's been mudding this trike for years. It's time to give him an upgrade. So we're going with some 1/8 inch plate to make the shock mount on the bottom. Put a couple of grooves in it so it bends easier. Little hammer time, beat it over. I don't have a brake, so a lot of this stuff's done by hand between a press, a hammer. This is me finishing up the base shape. That way I've got something to cut out. I know it's all gonna fit. Always test fit these things before you put them on. This is what I do. Custom work. Now I get in there, cut the old mount off. Kind of had a little fun with this thing. Cut the top off of it, and there was a bunch of sand in there. Old William's taking his mud holes home with him. So we'll get that piece chopped off. Get it all set up, cleaned up. Now we can weld the new part on. We got to set the new part in there. That way we can fit it. I can get the base design in shape, cut it out, drill some holes in it, get it welded together. We'll be good to go. These lifted big reds are full custom builds. The swing arms are stretched. Sometimes, well, Tony's is 13 inches. I think this one stretched about 12 inches. Big Bird, I think, is stretched about 10 inches. So they're all stretched at different lengths. These are all custom builds. There's a guy making kits, but if this is the kit, it kind of makes me think it's kind of janky. This was, from what William was saying, the first kit that was made out there, so really can't expect a lot of experience in this build because if it's the first kit, well, there's a lot of trial and error. Just like with the shock mount, I got it drawn out, got it shaped out. I was going to put it on one way, decided it's better to have the water roll out of it than pool in it, so we're going to lay it flat instead of standing it up. Get in there with a grinder, cut it all off, cut it all down, get it shaped. Throw it in the drill press. My camera angle's off, sorry. Happens sometimes. Get in there and clean up the drill holes. That way the bolt goes through. Bolt is the same size as the shock mount. The old bolt was not the same size as the shock mount. The holes in this shock are 10 millimeters, not 8 millimeters. It had 8 millimeter bolts in there. Oh, now we have fun. Yes, this jack is old, and if it gets pressure on it, sometimes it doesn't want to release. Because I've got the shock unattached, I got to chain the rear end to the rack, that way it doesn't fall down, and we just pivot it. I got to back this thing into the shop so I can weld that shock mount in there. That'll be coming up here shortly. But I figured we'll use a little leverage. We'll just spin it on the bike stand and roll it where it needs to be. No 100-point turn for this today. All this high speed kind of makes the long job come out really quick. You guys haven't subscribed to the channel yet, you might want to reach down and subscribe. Looks like we're going from motocross, trikes, and quads, and we're going to be playing with mud trikes now. Not really interested in the mud quads yet, but the few guys that I got coming to me for the trikes, not going to complain. They're great guys, and they're fun projects, and it's something different. Definitely changes things around. I had to get the cherry picker in there to get the weight off the three-wheeler so that I could get the jack to drop down. And a heavy old bitch had to be pushed back in there. Yeah, my back was not happy at the end of the day. I'm going to take the camera, we'll fit that piece in there, get in there with the marker, chalk pencil, mark it out where it's going to go, and we TIG weld it in place. I don't have a MIG welder, I don't have a stick welder. The only welder I have is a Lincoln 185 Precision TIG. I've had this thing since 2008. She works great. Definite workhorse. I wish it was a water-cooled torch, but it is what it is. It gets the job done. Very, 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 very rare that I have a weld break. My welds aren't the best looking welds, but they penetrate and they hold. That's all I can say. Haven't really had anything break of anything critical. Swing arms, all that stuff, they stay solid. Tony has not been able to snap any of my welds. And as hard as he rides, that says quite a lot. Really appreciate you guys watching to the end. Buttoning this thing up here, sitting nice and level. Comments, likes, shares. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see y'all in the next one.